Motivated every day. Happy, superb Saturday champion. Well, she made it to Saturday. She actually made it. This week is over for her now. The deliverables are in, the calls are done, the fires are managed, and she is sitting in her kitchen with a cup of coffee that she has barely touched, and she realizes she is still bracing. Her shoulders are still up, her jaw is still slightly tight, her mind is still scanning for the next thing that needs her attention. And so she's physically in Saturday and neurologically still in Tuesday. This is not anxiety, champions, and this is not stress. This is a nervous system that has been in a sustained state of readiness for so long that it has forgotten how to be anything else, champions. And there is a specific kind of person who is very good at getting through difficult weeks and very bad at recovering from them. And I want to discuss this pattern directly today because it is more common among driven, high-achieving people than almost any other wellness pattern. And it is quietly costing them so much more than they actually know and realize. The HPA axis that you hear me talking about, the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. It is your body's central stress response system, champions, and under normal conditions, cortisol rises in the morning to mobilize energy, and then it peaks in the mid-afternoon so you can keep it moving, and then gradually declines through the afternoon and into the evening, and then it reaches its lowest point around midnight to allow the restorative process of sleeping to run. And in people with sustained high stress loads over and over every day, every night, I think entrepreneurs, contractors, demanding professionals, parents, this rhythm, it just gradually distorts, and every evening cortisol stays elevated instead of reducing. And the morning cortisol either spikes too high, champions, or in advanced cases, it just blunts entirely. And sleep architecture then is disrupted. Recovery is impaired. And the system develops a kind of stress intolerance, not resilience, tolerance, where it keeps functioning despite being chronologically and chronically dysregulated. So, you're not strong because you can keep going on despite. You are strategic when you know when to stop, champions, and biological enough to actually recover when you do. And so here we are on this beautiful, superb Saturday. And Saturday's technique is the Motivated Everyday Recovery Declaration, champions. So before this day begins, before you open any device, before you check any message, champion, just write this sentence in your journal and speak it out loud. Today, I am rebuilding, not resting from failure, rebuilding from effort. The distinction matters, champion. Rest from failure is collapse. Recovery from effort, champions, is investment in your most precious investment, which is you. You will always be your most precious, most important, most incredible asset that you will ever have in your lifetime. And when your nervous system hears recovery framed as investment, as a strategic act, champion, it allows the parasympathetic system to shift to happen more completely. And when that parasympathetic shift happens more completely, then language shapes your biology, and the declaration prepares the system. And then we bring in ashwagandha, KSM 66, the most clinically studied form of Withenia somnifera, standardized to a minimum of 5% with olenides from full spectrum root extract only, champions, no leaves and no synthetic additions. The KSM 66 designation represents the most rigorous quality standard designation that they have in ashwagandha production, and the research that's been attached to it, champions, is the most robust in the category. Hallelujah, that's a great thing. Now, what does the research show? Well, a double-blind RCT published in the Journal of International Society of Sports Nutrition documented a 27.9% reduction in serum cortisol in the folk who used KSM-66 versus the group that used the placebos. And then multiple trials documented significant improvement in sleep onset, sleep quality, and total sleep time champions. Testosterone improvement in both men and women with below average levels. There was a significant reduction in anxiety and stress scale scores. There was improved cardiorespiratory endurance, reduction in the cortisol awakening response in chronically stressed subjects. In other words, ashwagandha brings in so much to improving you, your greatest asset, because this is not just a gentle adaptogen. At appropriate doses, about 300 to 600 milligrams of KSM-66 twice daily. Now, it produces a measurable, clinically documented HPA axis normalization champions. And your physician should be measuring your cortisol awakening response before and after 90 days on this ashwagandha KSM-66 protocol. And if your evening cortisol is elevated on baseline testing champions, that is the clinical target. Watch it normalize based on the data over a 3-month period. Watch your sleep improve. Watch your morning clarity return. And watch the Saturday morning bracing gradually, systematically release. Now, the woman in our story deserves a Saturday that feels like a Saturday. Not as a reward for surviving the week, champions, but as a biological state that she is invested in. And with the right herb, the right recovery declaration, and the physician data that tells her the system is actually resetting, that it's actually working. That, champions, is the longevity play. That is what this Saturday is all about. Alignment is the key. Motivation is the motion. The premium lifestyle is the result. Stay motivated every day. Yes.